wavy beard.
90s to a T.
If I say champagne, I will call it champagne.
Oh, no, we've got so many good episodes to watch.
Oh, wait, I'm getting it. Nope, changed my mind. Boo.
This is funny until you have it.
No, but seriously, wave after wave of men.
In the future, there's an owl problem.
Sorry, but like, his name's Huge Ass.
So do you listen to our podcast?
I'm sorry. Blue whales on the moon.
We carry a harpoon. God damn, I hate that we said that.
Halt die Klappe und nimm meinen Podcast.
What the shit?
It means shut up and take my podcast in German.
I'm German. I should know that.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to look down to get that.
Yeah, because I forgot what the verb for take in German was.
Oh, that was the issue.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast, a Futurama podcast now available through the Awesome Express. I am joined here by Phil.
I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen him before.
James.
Can Bender make moonshine?
Josh.
Doesn't matter if you got a nerd or beer inside you, it's what's inside that counts. And this is Sean.
Sal is a millionaire. I'm guaranteeing it. And you'll get it soon, Phil.
Yeah, I'll get it.
There was that moment I was looking at Sean and he was just staring at Phil like...
I'd literally just opened my mouth. That was
It's like, oh yeah, we have to do Sean, don't we?
Get in line. We are up to Season 3, Episode 12, The Root of All Evil. Can someone tell me what that is?
Money is the root of all evil.
Spelt differently.
Spelled differently.
It's because it's the paper root of all
Yes.
evil.
Well, yeah, the route of all evil.
The route of all evil for our Canadian friends.
Which kind of destroys the pun.
Or makes it better.
Question. That thing in your house that sends internet everywhere, is it a router or a router?
Ooh, I say router.
I say router.
Router? No,
Does anyone say router?
I actually sometimes say router, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a British thing, though?
It roots the signals, right?
Yeah, but roots is a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
It roots the router.
Of course, for non-Australians out there, root in Australia means another thing altogether.
Is that an Australian?
Yeah.
Is that
To root.
To root a person.
To root one, not self, but to root another is an Australian.
It's totally an Australian.
In America, it's rooted is usually used like in terms of enacting like a stance is to be rooted. So like your feet are
like trees, like the root.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas in Australia, you say be rooted to the ground. It's a very different.
How
meaning.
like intelligent am I? It's like like a tree, roots.
Actually, that's absolutely it.
Yeah. Director for this episode is Brian Sheasley, back from Amazon Women in the Mood. So here's the weird one for you. One of his first jobs is he was an animator for. It was a book that was turned into a short film or a film called A Wish for Wings at Work.
Busy. That's a really busy title.
Yeah.
It's about a penguin.
Alliterative, though.
No, a penguin? Yeah, it's about a penguin who wishes he could fly, but he
Like all
can't.
penguins.
And it had Tress MacNeil and Frank Welker, but also had a pseudonym, which was which was Robin Williams.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as some weird character, but he just refused
And
to.
it wouldn't be the last time that he's a penguin either.
No.
What's the writer's name you put on things that you don't want your name?
John Smith. Was it John Smitty? Alan Smitty.
Alan Smitty?
Yeah, have you heard of that?
No.
If you're involved in a piece of work that you think is going to be embarrassing to you later, you just credit yourself as Alan Smitty.
Alan Smitty.
Yeah, so if you see that credited anywhere, it just means someone was embarrassed by the project.
Yeah, he's apparently responsible for like 19 films, and it's not legally banned. But the Writers Guild now, everyone stops using Alan Smithy. So
What
it's
if someone actually is called that and tries to make a film?
No.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. Yeah,
It's also spelt with 2 E's at the end.
Yeah.
So it's not like, if it was Smithy with a Y, you'd be fine, or
I
IE.
think the names change. People use different ones.
Yeah,
Like Steven Soderbergh uses his dad's name when he shoots his films.
Right,
'Cause he shoots and directs it, but he thinks, I think it's like the whole, like, if you keep using your name kind of gets worn down. You just want to be like directing it and then have everything else come out.
There's a thing with J.K. Rowling as well, where
Rowling, as in that.
Rowling. For the casual vacancy.
Yeah, casual
Rowling?
vacancy.
Rolling?
Rowling. So
Rowling.
Yeah, these guys are correct. She writes her more serious novels under Galbraith, I think.
The first book she did, she had no intention initially of revealing that it was her, but then the story broke that this person, whatever the name was her, and she's like, well, fuck, okay, it's me then.
I think it's Robert Galbraith.
Yeah.
Some of the words it's the name she uses.
One of the
but then she stopped using it. So
People always use them. Like Stephen King has 2 others, I believe.
Some other.
Yeah.
There's an interesting
Stephen
one.
Kang and Stephen Kong.
Don't vote. I voted for Kang.
I think he's passed away now, but Ian Banks for his non-sci-fi novels and Ian M. Banks when he's running sci-fi.
cool.
So he's not really hiding his name.
Really throwing you off
Yeah,
there.
he's not really hiding his name, but I guess at a glance you can see, this is one of his sci-fi
Yeah.
novels.
It's like, who do you prefer?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I'm a sci-fi nut, so Ian M. Banks, obviously.
Speaking of sci-fi, one of the last Alan Smithy films was Alien 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
well, that wasn't Alan Smithy. That was David Fincher. Everyone knows that.
David Fincher had it as Alan Smithy for a while because
really?
he was sick of people being like, "Oh, you made that movie? I hate that movie." And,
It
he's
wasn't
like, and I
it
had to
wasn't
agree
his
with him.
fault, though.
Yeah, exactly. But he's like, I had to agree with him. You
Yeah.
know, and it's like, oh,
Pseudonym is much more on the
That's
nose.
also
Pseudonym.
Pseudonym.
Pseudonym. Writer for this episode is Dan Verba, back from the Bird Bot of Alcatraz.
Aye.
I didn't even know this existed. He was a writer for the Napoleon Dynamite animated show.
Really?
They made an animated TV series with the full cast back.
Jesus.
How long did it go for? Like a one
I
season?
think it only
Pilot.
didn't-
5 minutes. Cancel.
It was like 6 episodes, something really minuscule.
That's more than Yasmin's getting married, if anyone remembers that show.
I do not.
It had 2.5 episodes, and then it got pulled.
Hey, Faulty Towers is only 12 episodes. So.
But it's good 12 episodes.
Yeah. All
Is
those old
Faulty Towers only 12 episodes?
There's 2 seasons of 6 episodes.
And
yeah.
Mr. Bean is roughly the same as well.
That's wild.
But
Yeah.
spanned over about a decade.
Yeah.
It always
And
feels
a
like
lot-
there-
a lot
it
of
always feels
those-
like there's more.
a lot of those great British comedies have very short, snappy seasons. So,
Because Britain didn't have any money.
BBC did it cheap.
yeah, they just didn't have money.
the Blackadder series, 6 episodes each season.
Red Dwarf, I think, is like the
That's
most they ever had was
crazy.
8 episodes a season. Yeah.
Episodes cost money.
Yeah.
And Black Books, 6 episode seasons. Yeah.
If you'll cast your minds back 1 week, the air date for Insane in the Mainframe was April 8th, 2001. The air date for this episode is December 8th, 2002.
Jesus.
Okay. Yeah.
This is where the orders come into play. This is the episode that's the furthest removed from its production.
Oh, wow.
Does this count as the first episode of the next season?
This counts, if you're looking at broadcast order, it's the 5th season.
Okay.
In broadcast order, because remember, they've got like 10 broadcasts.
Wow. So it got really shelved for a while.
Well, it's because the guy who did Dwight Conrad, I forget the actor's name, but he apparently went to China to do a movie, and he was away for 10 months, and they had to wait for him to come back to re-record some lines. So like, well, we'll just wait.
Okay, geez.
I mean, it's not a continuity-heavy episode.
No.
So it's fine.
It's kind of weird because we get introduced the character of Dwight Conrad, which is the first time we've seen him, but if you're going by the way it was broadcast, he'd appeared twice earlier.
Oh, by the time this comes out.
Yeah,
right.
in a Leela of Her Own in the Blurnspool episode, and then
Right.
Anthology of Interest 2.
Yeah.
Well, if this is like intended as his introduction, right? This first time we see him, they don't make much bones about that.
No,
they
they
don't go, "Hey,
All they
this
said
is
was
my son."
the only
Right,
thing
yeah.
they said was he was at boarding school.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
only reference to why he was never mentioned, because he's just not there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's really weird. I can't wait to see those 2 episodes to see if he was explained further in a Leela of Her Own, or if it's just he's just there.
He's just there.
Probably just
From
there.
my memory, he is just there.
Yeah.
Because they would have intended originally just for him to have already been introduced.
Yeah,
when
because they never
produced those
mention him.
episodes.
Because Hermes would always mention LaBarbara, but you just wouldn't see her for ages. Like she was mentioned long before. But Dwight, you're just like, oh, okay, he has a kid.
I mean, I understand Hermes a lot more now because LaBarbara is not very kind.
No.
She believes in him and expects more from him.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the most
they're-
crushing thing ever.
It's like, I
they're
believe
really-
in you, but I also don't.
Yeah, I believe in you, but you're not doing good enough.
Yeah.
I think they're a good fit.
Yeah.
I think they're a good fit.
But yeah,
It's like a symbiotic relationship. Without her, he dies.
like Parasite.
exactly. Like cancer.
I think they just both don't take guff, right? They're just very practical people.
Depends who he's talking to. He
Yeah.
takes a lot of guff from certain people, but if it's Zoidberg, he smacks that guy down.
If this is the introduction of Dwight, like the first proper introduction as well, in terms of like the canon, it's a nice little introduction of him. Just like, you remember Dwight? There's a Dwight. You remember the crew? It's
Yeah.
like,
Is this the introduction of the blobs as well?
No, this is gelatinous blob that we've seen previously.
yeah. Your package arrived, Mr. Gelatinous Blob.
Thank you. Yeah. Same blob.
Same blob.
Same voice, same
Yep.
viscous matter.
Yeah, Lur,
know which
Morbo,
voice we're
and
doing
gelatinous
this
blob.
week.
But I didn't know he had a son.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me that.
How do they? How do they?
Do they split off?
Yeah, I think-
Yeah.
Does
assume
he?
they
Does
split.
he devour the female?
I don't know. I feel like he's a single father.
I think they're asexual. I think they just reproduce like
By
just
mitosis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you sound like toasters?
Like toasters.
Yes, like toasters.
Like toast.
Like
What
my
did you say?
yeah, like
My
toasters.
You know when you go downstairs and you put a piece of bread in and you're like, man, I'm looking
And
forward
then
to this. And you
two come
there's
out?
two. It's like, oh my god, they're spreading!
So
If you could make a
close.
toaster that did that, you would be so
That'd be
rich.
so, you'd have to call it my toasters.
This episode brought to you by My Toasters.
Let's move on to the plot.
The toasting replicant.
The plot of The Root of All Evil. Hermes and the professor, their children are suspended from school, and they're
Assaulting a classmate.
Assaulting
Assault.
a classmate, where they become a nuisance around the Planet Express. So much so that they're told to go and start their own, get a job, right? So they decide to start their own business, which is a rival business to the Planet Express, and they do better at it than the Planet Express, and buy them out. Which upsets their fathers up until the point that they screw everything up and have to get bailed out.
What do we think?
Don't like it.
Patchy episode.
Yeah, there's
very
certainly,
patchy.
it's fun, and there's certainly moments.
There's
but-
moments, yeah, but they're short.
It's a momenty episode, isn't it? There's like, I enjoy the subplot. I enjoy Fry, Leela, and Bender.
I want that thing to be the whole episode.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
thing is so fun to me.
It's kind of fun just to see them hanging out as friends, and it's not about like the relationship between. As much as I love Leela Fry, it's just like, they are just friends that would hang out and get drunk and do whatever.
I think I need to step back to the synopsis to make sure that that's included.
Okay.
Bender gets pregnant.
Bender gets pregnant.
With beer.
I wrote that down. I wrote down Phil, Daddy Bender V2, Mummy Bender.
Mummy Bender.
Mummy
Yeah,
Bender.
yeah. We've seen Daddy Bender, now we've got Mummy Bender.
Yeah, genuine. Like again, that is the plot that should be the episode.
It should be the A plot.
Yeah,
A plot.
This, and I feel like these are two separate plots, which would be great in two separate episodes with another plot beneath them. But beer bend, like
I'm not sure there's enough in that plot you can do to focus. I'm retracting my previous statement that it should be an A plot.
I think that might be the B plot of a different
episode.
Yeah,
for sure.
because it's a really nice little story.
It depends. Like if a second episode is them trying to market Bender Brow, potentially there's that second half of that as to what they do with the beer product.
He has to be like serially pregnant, and he gets really
gets
really frustrated with having to be always pregnant.
Yeah.
Bender, your mood's just horrible these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, he just puts on the baby weight, and it's great. Like the moment, and there's also two very expressive moments with Bender in this. The most expressive you'll ever see Bender ever is when he finds out that they can make your own beer, and his eyes go super small. You hear a chorus behind him, and his head shoots off. It's like this.
He also blows his nose. Later.
Yes,
It's like, where is that nose?
that was
A hanky appears from nowhere.
that was my favorite part of just seeing in the corner of my eye Sean just like raise his hand and be like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What's going
I was also
on?"
trying to figure out like how internally he works, because in Insane in the Mainframe he's got the fiber optic cable, but now he's got a spring. So like trying to figure out how those two live
His head's
inside
on a
him.
spring.
Also, he's just your Bender function of the week. Makes beer.
Yeah, he's just
is a beer.
And the antenna can be removed to implant things.
Which-
hops in his
Which
head. A
is
yeast in his
his-
head.
He's very much like, remember in what's episode 3, I Roommate. He essentially alludes to it as his penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
just
just
takes
a
it off.
little cap top. He's like, yeah, Fry, you can hold it, you can touch it, you can do whatever you want with it, pop it back on, it's all good.
Yeah, just
Isn't it a
But
penis?
then that makes the metaphor about him being excited that something's going to be growing inside of him even more, because it's like if it's removing a sexual organ to put something in there.
put the living thing
Yeah.
inside him. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's yeast. He'll get a yeast infection. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I've worked at a winery, and
Wait, what?
I worked at a winery years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
congratulations.
did like a vintage. But it's like, yeah, you have to put yeast in wine so it can ferment, and it's like, by the way, wash your hands after this, because like big buckets of yeast, because you will get a yeast infection if you start touching parts if you go to the toilet. So yeah, wash your hands.
Yes.
That's so funny. Like, just I've never thought about getting a yeast infection, obviously, just from touching
Actual
yeast.
yeast. Yeah.
My favourite part of that B plot is the part where they're on the couch. I find that scene very pleasing when they're they're all being sweet about
Yeah.
like, oh, I can hear it fermenting. Like, it's gorgeous. I love it so much. And they all get giddy over the baby. I guess you could have more scenes like they could do the ultrasound and stuff like that. That would be really good.
Even like this is like when he comes back and he's knitting the little beer bottle
Yes.
like jumper. It's like, oh, this is adorable.
And will it be an ale or a lager?
Yeah.
And I want it to be a lager so I can take it to ball games.
And his little song is just, hush, little brisky, don't you leak. Daddy wants to drink for at least a week. It's like, oh, look at Daddy Bender.
There was also a beer so the label that you see on the Bender Brown, the end, is the one that the crew, because the crew used to make beer as well.
Really?
As in the actual writer's room.
Okay.
And that's the label they would put on their beer.
Oh, awesome.
So they made Bender
They
Brown.
made their own Bender Brown.
Yeah.
Wish I could
Before
taste
the
some.
episode was made. obviously.
That makes that plot even more. And I love how we're talking more about the B plots. It's like, this is the plot that we like.
Yeah, it is by far and away my favorite part of the episode.
It's the plot that it doesn't tie in with the main one. They feel so apart.
Although there is a great line in there of just like, and they're making beer in company property, accusing Gentle Bender of misdeed. It's like
Gentle Bender.
Yeah, it's also
It's like a slight return to loving Farnsworth.
Yeah.
Season 1 Farnsworth. It's lovely.
even at the end, I think the ending of the episode with the A plot, like the fathers, like that moment where they're laughing at the kids, like screwing everything up, and then there's that genuine moment of like, oh, and it's like
They were having a beer together. Yeah.
Oh, like, even before that, like when they're having dinner, Dwight and Farnsworth, Mini Farnsworth, run in.
Conrad.
Yeah,
No, that's the last name of Hermes. What am I talking about?
Oh
my God.
Cubert.
Jesus.
When they run in, like, we screwed up, and they're like, ha ha. Oh, I'm like, that's nice. That's a nice little moment, but to get there, it was a bit rough.
Yeah, I get really frustrated during the kind of initial sequence when they like get brought home, they get suspended, and they're just running around being a nuisance. I wrote stupid sequence in my notes. I was just like, I was like, we're in for a bad episode, aren't we?
It doesn't help that I hate Conrad every time. God damn it, Cubert. Every time I see him, and I know that's the point.
Yeah.
But I just don't like him.
It's like Claptrap
Just
in
don't like him.
Borderlands. It's like, we wanted to make a really annoying character. It's like, congratulations, you made a really annoying character. It's really annoying.
Whereas Dwight, I do like some of his lines where he looks at Farnsworth's latest invention of the Farnsworth voice modulator or whatever it is. She's like, so what's his marketability?
Yeah.
Who's this for? It's like, no one.
Yeah. Also, just like Farnsworth going back to his evil scientist route there as well.
only targets.
He'll make that chess cannon one day.
Oh yeah, that's a good episode.
But like, Cubert in this, he frustrates me because his personality feels like he wants to be a child. It's like, the flames make it go faster. But then he's like, I'm so smart. And I'm just like, just pick one.
Which personality are you?
Please pick one. Are
Yeah.
you a kid or are you so smart that everyone's ignorance frustrates you?
And I thought we were past this with Cubert because, like, the first time he's introduced, he has that moment of like he realizes it and he understands what Farnsworth is talking about. It's like, it's not the ship that moves, it's space that moves around it, and it's
And
like.
it's more to do with your imagination
Yeah.
and believing in what's possible.
And it's that moment, it's like, oh, we can like him now. And then they bring him back and it's like, no, still can't like him. He's still an asshole,
Yeah.
still
No.
an annoying little twat.
One thing I did,
First use of twat on the podcast.
Oh, yay!
What?
It's the first time for
We need
everything.
like a little vocal, a little noise for that. The twat tune.
That's 2 twats now. Oh, actually 3.
When the A plot's happening and we've got the crew has been so Fryer, Leela, and Bender join the Awesome Express because they've been paid a better salary and
get
such
awesome
whatnot.
uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome uniforms.
Even Bender with the shorts
Yeah.
and hat and nothing else.
I'm a little bit annoyed that the color scheme of their uniforms don't correlate to the color
it's
scheme of
really
their
weird, just
logo.
yellow and blue.
It's like bright red and yellow, and then it's like a calm little blue. I'm like, oh, it's not how you do it. It's not, because you don't even have the logo on. Ugh.
The caps are very cute, though.
Yeah.
I love the caps. And I love how willing they are to just jump ship and work for them instead.
Like
and then when they walk, or when they've been hired, they just do like
And Bender's just waddling because of all the
Also, Bender can't wear the shirt because he's too fat, so he just has the high-rise pants.
yeah, the little shorts and the yellow cap.
Yeah.
It's like, they had to make one special so it could fit through his antenna. It's like, that's
How
adorable.
horrible is that substitute crew, though? Scruffy, Amy,
Drex. Lovable
and
Drex.
Zoidberg. That'd be the worst mission.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I remember
I would say they had a great mission, Amy, Zoidberg,
and Hermes.
Yes, they did.
That makes it fine, but when you take out Hermes and Scruffy,
Scruffy would literally do nothing on that mission.
no,
Yeah.
eating chips.
Or it'd be the moment where like they're getting attacked and you just see him like with multiple guns just being like Ripley, just like killing everything. And then it's just like, I'm on break, and just goes back to whatever.
I think he'd be watching them fight and using the gun to like dip the dip for the chips and just he's not.
I like to think he'd be like Deadpool, where it's just like he's like focused on his own thing and everyone's complaining and he's like, all right, fine, kills everything and then goes back to his own thing.
When
Goes
he's,
back to eating
when
chips.
he's working, he's really great.
Yeah,
Yeah, we never see him actually off break, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's the best janitor
Yeah,
ever
maybe.
off break.
absolutely. There's multiple beats with the A plot, and it's very weird because it goes from, and I wrote the note down, kids suck, and then later I wrote adults suck.
Yeah.
And it goes to the point of like the adults being like, okay, kids, can you just not be awful? And then the kids kind of focus, and the adults become awful. And then they become rivaling businesses. So they both become awful. And it's just like, until you get that moment where they're having dinner and it's like, oh, they've all reconciled. And even at the end in the hospital ward when it's like, oh, like, it's about words. It's about like, look, just some men sharing beers, talking. It's like, this is great. Up until that point, it's like,
what's your message, right?
exactly.
What's your message? It sort of
Anything
makes-
that Farnsworth and Hermes touches is awful.
I do love how they have that as well with Hermes just being like, you don't have your own ship or building or whatever the hell that is. It's like,
Hello.
Yeah, it feels like at the end they're like, oh, by the way, if you hadn't kind of picked it up because we were a bit confused, this is the message.
Yeah.
Like you say, the parents are kind of awful. They just kind of want their kids to suffer. And that's kind of funny in moments, but it's really inconsistent.
Yeah.
Just it wanders about between what their
Yeah,
motivations
it's like
are.
even in like the same scene, it'd be like, I'm gonna smash your stuff. Then it's like, oh, I'm blowing you a kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, I
it's a cheek-
do really like that it's a cheek seeker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also the fact
seeking
that
That's
the
the joke in the.
and it's, I know the best joke is when it's like, we've started a rival delivery company. Welcome to the world of business. And they just start kicking the sign.
Yeah.
Fade to black. Come back to the episode.
Yeah.
It's still kicking it. It's like,
Yeah.
that is a good thing.
It's funny when the commercial cuts don't work as well on a DVD. 'Cause you're like, you see just cut, they're still going, whereas otherwise we get a 2-minute break, which is like they've been bashing it for 3 minutes. It's lovely.
I think that is my favorite joke in the episode, though. Welcome to the world of business. And they both kick into competition mode and just kick the shit out of the sign.
Unspoken as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? They just do it.
And then this is the one line from Farnsworth. It's just like, who's going to go to a business with a busted sign? No one, that's who.
just mean.
The mixed message is part of it. It feels like if you took the Luck of the Friarish ending and where the Bugalo roam of just inconsistency of what the hell is the message and put them together. It's like, what the hell is the message here? Fathers and sons, just get along.
No, they're like Bender's pregnant. It's all about it's all about being a
that's
parent.
the B plot.
Yeah,
the B
yeah.
plot is wonderful the whole way through. Like the A plot is just
That's how they tied it in. It's about family.
There's also it also lacks that core focus, right? Of this is a sci-fi trope that we're parodying. This is the kernel which we're going to stretch the episode around, like be it wrestling, Federation, or Hollywood. Even though I don't like that episode very much, like those episodes
It has a focus.
have a focus and they have something to cling to, and they give you like a little reward for being a sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
This is just the kids start a rival business. It's not.
It's a personal episode done incorrectly.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
if we're not focusing on, I keep going back to this where you've got the 3 things that make a great Futurama episode, which is the emotional resonancy, it's the sci-fi plot, and it's the humor. If you've got the emotional resonancy, that usually comes through the character side of things rather than the plot side of things. So if you're really hammering on that, you need to make sure the characters that you're focusing on and the way you're making them interact and getting your story across is effective. And this, it's just not, because we don't care about Cubert to really have too much of an emotional attachment of him, because you've already reverted him straight back to Dick Cubert.
Yeah.
And we don't know who Dwight is either.
Is Cubert like a genius?
Cubert is Farnsworth, so he's meant to retain all of the intelligence of Farnsworth, but also with the
neuroses and the madness as well.
Because I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, he's like ordering like
And the Wandering
he's
Platter.
ordering like a hover car, a hover.
Yeah,
And
on
I'm
the
like-
back of one of those
When I
comic
was watching,
books,
I'm
yeah.
like, just build one. Like Farnsworth has stuff everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be a genius.
I mean, I feel like
I really like that thing that,
Yeah.
that it's pedal powered. Like, that's kind of cute.
yeah.
But I had, until you mentioned that, I had totally forgotten about that scene where they're like, they send the coupon off.
Yeah.
Like, there's bits of this episode that are like forgettable.
yeah.
I had that
It's
sorry
like,
to interrupt
like
your
it's a
point,
really
but
old
just-
gag to be like, oh, it's the 1 cent like back of a magazine. Like,
Oh,
that-
it's gonna
yeah.
take. It's going to take way longer to arrive than they said it would.
Although on the flip side, I kind of liked that because it's the future, so everything is better, but the shit that you buy is still shit. So it's like, oh, we got our own little like hover car. Also, Big question.
Yeah, if I had a pedal-powered hover car right now, I would be stoked.
Yeah, exactly.
In that world, it's terrible.
Big question. How do they survive re-entry?
They just go really
That's
slowly.
a really good question.
Because they've got to break the atmosphere, and then they've got to come back through it.
No, they just go
Are we
really
just ignoring
slow.
that?
They've got a spray now.
Yeah.
You just spray yourself. And
There's a one thing in this, like, again, like, give a little bit more weight to some things, but I'd love if they bought like that, and then they go up, and then they come, like, it hard cuts to them, like, slightly singed, and they got another cover that it's like, portable re-entry atmosphere.
Shield, yeah.
Exactly. And they're going up there, and it's this really crappy shield that's around them, like, and they're like, the whole way through as they fly out. Like,
yeah.
There's the thing of like, there's a suburb on a planetary ring, which is kind of nice.
I'm trying to wonder what the real estate on that's like. Like, is it more expensive because it's in space, or is it less because that's fucking inconvenient to be
the
living up
suburbs,
there?
I think.
Yeah, it's just the burbs on a ring.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's really nice.
Super isolated.
Does that one kid just live on that crater without a house?
Le Petit Prince.
Yes. Yeah, that's the joke that it is.
Yeah.
See, I don't get that reference. I know it's a reference. I have no idea what it is.
It's a much loved children's book called Le Petit Prince, and he lives on a planet that size, essentially. The size that it is in the show is pretty much the size of the planet in the book.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he does. It's a children's book, so not very much.
It's like the Kai from Dragon Ball Z. You know, he lives on that tiny planet when he trains Goku.
Oh. That's bringing me
like
back.
that. That's why he goes, au revoir!
Yeah.
When he gets hit by the paper.
I'm glad that you remember what it was called, because I'm like, I know what that's a reference to. I forget the name of it, though. I know it's French. But as soon as I'm like,
They throw in a couple of really referential references. Like, do you know what I mean by that? That they're like on the nose. They're not really tucked away.
No.
Like the Star Wars one. It's not a Sarlacc. It's
That's one, Jim.
Crater Worm.
Crater Worm. Yeah. It just is. It's just there.
And it just eats the dog that has its own little space helmet.
Yeah, the framing's the same.
Yeah.
The movement it makes when it jumps out is the same.
Yeah.
It's just the shot.
It's a nice little gag there.
Yeah, it doesn't linger.
Yeah,
so it's all right.
There's another thing. There's a weird inconsistency of animation in this episode, and there's 3 examples that come to mind.
Are you thinking of the dog?
As it's galloping
Yeah.
in space.
Oh no!
I hadn't noticed that.
It's doing the doggy paddle in space. No, the first one
jetpack.
is Bender, when they go do the couch gag, which is a great scene, Bender's left arm disappears.
Oh, really?
So when Leela is like leaning there and Bender's leaning there, you see Bender's right arm and his left arm is nowhere to be seen. The other one is when Conrad sits down to fire the cannon. He sits down and you only see his left arm go up to take it, and he goes like, and it's like, where is his right arm? Because he's just like, you see him like really awkwardly sitting there.
Rough draft. Pick up your game.
And also, Bender is sitting on the table, and this is like a classic Simpsons thing. Like, and
you were like,
yeah,
beady eyes this episode.
I do it for a lot, but these are the ones that stood out. I'm like, it makes me think of the joke in The Simpsons, and it's always the way they get out of this. If it's like, cartoons don't need to make sense, it's all about people getting hurt and stuff. You know, they don't need to make sense, and a door swings open and slams Bart where there's never been a door before ever in The Simpsons.
Isn't there one where like a second Bart
Homer walks?
Homer walks outside.
But Bender is on the table giving birth, and then suddenly Bender is no longer at the table, and there's 5 phones. There's just, there's a bunch of phones.
The Awesome Express phones.
They just all pop up. It's like, it's not a problem because this is what cartoons are. Cartoons are about like yes, they wear the same clothes every day, and also sometimes the building and geography will change.
But also, that's exactly what we're here to do.
Yeah. It's also a bit of a, like, I guess it's not that hard to notice that when things like objects just randomly appear where they weren't before, and it's not like it's a cartoon logic thing.
Yeah.
It's a spatial logic thing. It's just like they're not there, now they're there. That's, I think that's
I mean, there's ones where
a
you're like,
mistake in cartoons as well.
like where Dwight pulls up the newspaper and he's saying, look, this is our route. He didn't have the newspaper there before. Like when he says,
true.
we've already got a client. Like things like that, which are deliberately in the next week's episode, you're going to see that utilized in a great way.
Lovely.
Yeah, little things like that, isn't it?
Can I pose a joke that might bring the A plot and B plot slightly closer together?
Okay.
Instead of all the phones on the table, you have a whole bunch of phones ringing, and Bender turns around, and because of his size, they've just installed a whole bunch of phones onto him. So it's just like, you just see like all these phones ringing on his back. So he's still sitting on the table, and you just see that there's like,
Possibly.
So Bender's the receiver.
yeah, Bender, like you see Bender's like little like antenna like go red, and then it just turns around, and there's just like 7 or 8 phones, just
Like a switchboard?
Yeah,
I was going to say, can we change it so it's like operator? You have to manually like switch.
He's got the auxiliary
switch
cable
to the,
still.
switch to the line.
What network is carrying the show at this point in
Fox.
production? So
That's the Fox
That's
show.
the
Yeah.
Fox show. Right,
It is just a rite of passage for every Fox animation to
Make fun of Fox.
Make fun of Fox.
Yeah.
Can I pose something? Can
No.
we try and work out how
we should just stop. That would have been really good.
I never listen to Sean. I love you, Sean.
I'm right here.
You're so far away from me, Sean. Can we find a way to fix the A plot in this? Like, is there a way that we could fix it, or an A plot that would work better?
I
with
would say
Bender
Get
as
rid
a-
of Cubert, Dwight.
Yeah,
Just Dwight. And Hermes and Dwight coming back are not really...
you are absolutely correct. Dwight is the thing in this that really pushes everything forward. Even Dwight, his Project Dwight Lightning.
Can we
Yeah.
make it like a coming of age for Dwight?
Yeah.
Like coming of age, or we go the classic of, I don't want to be a bureaucrat, Dad. Or I
Yes.
don't understand what you do.
Yeah, that's a really nice trope as well. It's like I'm going to make you a bureaucrat. I'm bringing you to work day or something, and you're going to be a
'Cause you
bureaucrat.
don't have any-
He's like,
And then
no, I want to do my own thing.
Or he actually becomes one and becomes a better number than him.
Yeah,
And you don't have
Or
any.
he
You don't
just-
have any preconceived notion of Dwight at this point either. So you don't have any
Yeah.
crap before that. So you've got a clean slate with the character where he can start off being a dick or whatever and being annoying, and then you give him that.
Yeah,
And it'd be interesting as well, instead of like kids against parents, if Farnsworth is still there, but Dwight calls him like Uncle Farnsworth or something. Because it's like, if Hermes has been working with Farnsworth and they're so close, obviously Farnsworth would have had some interaction with Dwight. So if that idea of Dwight using Farnsworth against Hermes. So it's like they're like that working together. It's like,
So what you could have is, if you want to keep some of the rival delivery company stuff, you go, oh, follow my footsteps, be a bureaucrat. And he's like, I am going to follow your footsteps, but I'm going to run a delivery company instead. And he's like, no, that's not the part that I wanted you to copy. You could do it that way, which would be kind of fun, I think.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just genuinely love how you just said, James, you said just like, remove Cubert. That fixes everything.
It's like usually the solve is so minute, but it just has a butterfly effect that just it's so beautiful.
But you just get Dwight, like, even if you want to do, okay, Hermes isn't being a great dad, I won't follow in his footsteps. Maybe he starts following Fry or someone else in the crew. And it's kind of, there's that confrontation where it's like, he's like the father figure.
Yeah.
And instead of like them being at like, what was it? They were like at some kind of school.
A school, I think.
Yeah, okay. He was at like a military academy, but he was at Limbo Academy.
Oh yeah.
Or bureaucrat academy or
But
something,
like he was sent to one of those to become like either a limbo or a bureaucrat, and he came back, and now he's like, that angst has like come off, and he's like, I'm not gonna literally follow what you do.
I want to
That's
see an episode.
kind of Cubert's already. That's already what Cubert did when he was introduced.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want to be like you.
Okay,
I
we
want
can
to
do
something
We can
else.
just do different kind of father story.
Following in his footsteps, but following the wrong part. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's like, follow my lead. It's like, cool, I'll do this. No, that's not what I meant. It's
Yeah.
like, because Cubert was like rebellion. Dwight can be like misguided, following what he thinks is important for his father, and like following through with that even further.
Yeah.
You also gain this opportunity. I keep interrupting everybody.
You're
this
good,
week.
you're good.
If you remove Cubert and you remove the father son up the other side with Farnsworth, you can then maybe have room to explore Hermes and LaBarbara as parents, rather than just Hermes, and you can look at their relationship and their relationship with their son.
LaBarbara hasn't really had anything huge to do up until this point.
it would be,
and she won't until Barbados Slim comes in.
Yeah.
And then with Farnsworth, what you
Barbados
just do with him is you make the B plot about Fry, Leather, and Bender trying to hide the brewing from Farnsworth.
Yeah.
So because they're doing it on company property.
Yes.
Or you really complicated everything. Dwight is the father of the brew.
Oh, yeah. That's got some ramifications.
so weird, but I
Could
love
that
it.
be? Could this be a weird bootlegging episode where Dwight works with them?
They're running moonshine
to
for a
make
business?
and that's like comes back to the thing of Bender having multiple times of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Is that idea that Dwight is like the beer baron and they're making their own?
And they escalate, right? They start brewing beer. They're like, oh, it's not profitable enough. Let's use them as a still and make moonshine.
Even if they hire multiple Bender units.
And they're all
Could
brewing.
you imagine that? Like just that
None of which are Flexo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just have that thing of just like, and could you imagine having like an entire room of Benders all pregnant at the same time?
Benders.
Would it be kind of interesting if they'd managed to like get Bender beer pregnant without his knowledge? Like he didn't know why it was happening.
Yeah.
Just have like them feeding behind him, just like sucking it out. It's like, I'm skinny again. Hook him up again.
I mean, I gotta say though, I think it's brilliant. It's better that he's aware of it because it comes back to that Daddy Bender thing. Like it's and it's a way as well. He's like, do you think the writers planned this? It's like showing how much he loves kids so that he loves the idea of having something growing inside of him even more.
Bender just wants to be a mommy.
Yeah, he really does.
All right, let's head on to a vote.
It's not going to win.
So the
Insane in the
Insane
mainframe is
in the
our
mainframe,
new...
yeah.
Look, let's just quickfire this. I'm saying insane.
Insane in the mainframe.
Insane.
Insane in the mainframe.
Booyah.
Yeah, that was easy.
Winner,
The
winner.
B plot gives it a run for its money. Bender brow.
They
we
could
also-
have fixed the
It's got
main
dots.
Yeah, and Botweiser.
Here's a hard one. Dwight.
It's just really.
It's just a high pitched Conrad, isn't it?
My manwich.
Conrad.
My
Yeah,
manwich.
Yeah. The Return of the Manwich joke
Yeah.
as well.
Throwback jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you do a line that's not like it's like a sentence? Because that's when it gets difficult. It's-
I just wanted to do the blob,
Hey,
so I'm a
pal.
bit
He
disappointed.
just kind of,
Yeah.
hey, it's like, so what's your,
has he got a Jamaican accent?
Not
Or-
really.
Not really, does he?
It's
Not
a little,
really.
but he's got like a little attitude to it.
Yeah, he's got a little attitude.
There's a bit of a variance. LaBarbara's got a really thick accent.
That almost
and then
sometimes
Hermes
makes
is-
it unintelligible.
Yeah.
Hermes doesn't really.
I feel like
Well,
Hermes...
he's so
a
far
bit.
away at school all the time.
Yeah.
Hermes gets more Jamaican dependent on the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, he really does.
Whenever he's with LaBarbara, it just seems to like just get turned up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess when they're in the recording studio facing each other.
Good little feature of having the picture of him being like the limboing at the Olympics above the mantelpiece as well. I was like, that's nice.
And he's also mugging for the shot as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's that good.
He is that good, yeah.
Before he killed that kid.
Yeah.
I really
yeah, I
wanted to
forgot
just.
about that.
I'm under a lot of stress at the plant. They're introducing a robot. It's computers to
That's like almost Vincent D'Onofrio from Men in Black.
milk, sugar water. Bringing in computers.
Yeah.
It's like Red Letter Media now. They're bringing in the pooters.
Stop dancing.
I'm sorry, things have been really stressful down at the plant. They're bringing in computers to up productivity. You can take your apology and shove it up your one-way digestive system.
Oh, I'd say it's like,
He can kiss my ass, which I don't have.
What a line.
Almost became blah.
It feels like that mixed of like,
You can drift into Morbo quite easily.
Yeah.
and
Well,
Lur.
and Destructor.
Yeah.
and I feel like a bit of the villain in Men in Black. Like,
Yeah,
That's
Vincent
yeah,
D'Onofrio.
yeah.
Oh, he's
Do
good in that
listen.
He's good.
Do try and keep up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was so busy.
He's trying to think of his sentence still.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, if there is nothing else for us to do this week, we should get on to talking about next week. So next week will be a bending in the wind.
Bending in the wind.
Sometimes it's really hard for me to remember the episodes
Yeah.
based on their titles.
Yeah.
It's surprise. Laureline comes back.
Is it folk singing based? Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I know this episode. I remember it. I remember it.
But until the time that we will be bending in the wind, if you'd like to email us, you can just email babybeardmedia@gmail.com to get in touch.
Check out all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Or go on YouTube. You're probably on YouTube right now. I know I'm always on YouTube.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, give us a thumbs up, a like, 5 stars, several golden figlets, depending on what system you're on. Just let us know and share it with a friend if you like.
What's a golden?
What system does a figlet? What is a figlet?
Oh, you don't use Bruca?
Bruca?
Yeah,
I don't use Bruca.
Oh, it's great. It's a great service. It gives you everything directly into your
How do
mind.
you spell that?
Your mind.
It's BRUU umlaut U DGER.
Wait, so you then umlaut
Yeah.
you? So it's 3 U's.
Yeah.
2 U's and an umlaut
Bruca.
U. Bruca.
Bruca.
All right, done.
Okay.
Until we figure out how to make Bruca a real thing, I have been Sean.
I've been Phil.
I've been James.
And I was Josh.
Bye.
Bye. I haven't drunk in months.
Low level drinking is perfectly healthy
my
for you.
birthday?
Not a doctor. It's this thing we used to do. You get that
Drunk.
really.
Every night now for the past week, I've been having a Scotch and Coke. And I'm like, is this very bad for me?
I feel bad for me then. Mine is whiskey, tumbler, double fireball, ice.
Every night? What
Now,
you just
when you
described.
say I've been having a cheeky Scotch and Coke, do you mean I've been smashing a giant can of Woodstock every night?
Yes, no. A few weeks back, and I was going to get like a Johnny Walker 6-pack or whatever. And the guy's like, hey, maybe you should have this one instead. It's, it doesn't taste as good, but it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I went, sure.
Tell me more.